Hello, my name is Travis Hasko-Young, and this is the tale of how a kid from Idaho who loved electric guitar and the music coming out of his stereo transformed into a solder sniffer for the stars. But before that, I could tell music was something that connected me to others in a way that nothing else did. We had an inexpensive acoustic guitar in our house that I discovered when I was 3 or 4 years old, and a new world opened up to me when I got my hands on my first playable guitar when I was 10 years old. That world made the most sense to me. But I was also really lucky. I had an incredible guitar teacher who was a college graduate with a BA in classical guitar. I would come into lessons with various songs I wanted to learn, and he would transcribe them in front of me. It was amazing to see someone illustrate that music could be learned and played right now. They were the best musicianship lessons I ever participated in. He also played in a cover band that performed at things like weddings and community events. Eventually, I was asked to join the band as a full-time member. By the time I was 14, I was basically a professional musician. This was also a period of time when I bought my first vacuum tube amplifier, which was a purchase that truly changed my life. I always took things apart to see how they worked, and when I took apart my tube amp, I discovered there wasn't much in there and thought, I want to learn how to make these things someday. Because of the nature of the work I was involved with outside of high school, my music career took priority and academics took a back seat. I was still learning an enormous amount outside of school on my own by building guitar pedals, tinkering with electronics, and learning music theory by myself. I dropped out of high school at the end of my junior year. After a year of working at a local music store that the drummer from the cover band owned, I decided to enroll in college at Musicians Institute in Hollywood. I had learned about MI when I read a Jeff Buckley biography during that year of working at the music store. I put together an audition CD in between cover band shows, and I was accepted to MI. I moved to LA in September of 2007. After I graduated, a teacher who was aware of my guitar playing and my electronics skills recommended me to a prominent guitar electronics technician when the technician mentioned in passing that he was looking for someone to help at a shop. I worked there for over 3 years, doing all kinds of work for all kinds of guitar players. No one was really offering me advice about any of this. I just showed up because I wanted to learn how to do the stuff my boss was doing. I realized around this time that I was doing a lot of these engineering-based occupations because my father never thought that music could be a, quote, real job. I met a lot of people through this job, and I even started taking guitar lessons from one of the clients. This teacher had taken lessons from an extremely accomplished guitar player, author, and educator named Ted Green. Ted's self-studying was focused on solo performance and non-guitar based chord voicings, like piano chords. Ted's work was inspirational to me, and I studied a lot of his instructional books on my own when I wasn't soldering. Ted would often give lessons to students who couldn't pay for their lessons if they showed a deep interest in learning what he was teaching. So in 2017, after 5 years or so of freelance work, I designed and manufactured a small run of guitar pedals formed from researching the examples clients of mine enjoyed, as well as through my own exploration. After struggling to make ends meet financially with this project, I started to research and design vacuum tube amplifiers on a pretty deep personal level without the intention to get into business again. I learned an enormous amount of information during this time about the interaction that occurs between all of the components in an electronic guitar amplification system. After reaching a point where I felt I didn't want to tinker with electronics much more, I decided I wanted to come back to school in a formal setting to get an accredited degree in music. Music is a real job, and I'm a musician. I didn't want to be an engineer. So now I'm back at LAVC getting my general education credits with the intention of transferring to CSUN for a BA in jazz guitar. My path has never been a conventional academic path, but I'm okay with that being the case. I'm okay with my obsessive nature continuing to be my best and most reliable teacher. I hope I can use my knowledge to teach others about the things I've learned by myself, much like Ted Green did.